I'm always grooving to that. Sorry, I realized like 10 seconds into it, Ebony wasn't going to be here to stop me from doing my grooving. But hello, everybody. Welcome to Dragon Mount. I'm Tom, and today I'm going to be joined with on this side because I don't know my right from my left. Crystal, aka Queena
Hey.
from Dragon Mount. She has been lurking in the chats often and often helping us out on Twitter during the shows, doing some live reactions and interacting with folks in Twitter and like Instagram and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, and then doing lots of other things just on the website for a while.
Awesome. Yeah, the website, funny story, is either only just recently taken off of the server that's quite literally in Jason Denzel's closet,
Yep.
or still is on it. I'm not sure which one that is yet.
I think it's out of his closet now. I think it's
Okay,
come out of the closet.
Dragon Mount has come out of the closet. That should be our tagline, I think,
Love it.
because it is accurate. So anyway, as you can see in chat, we are joined today by the lovely, the effervescent, if you would, Rob from MalkierTalks. So let's bring him in.
Woohoo!
We don't have any music for this, so here we go.
No, I can just groove to the intro music if you want.
I should just clip me doing that and then make that the music now that I think about it.
That'd be
That was a cute overlay. I love that. Like, yeah.
I made it this weekend, realizing that or this past weekend, like 2 weekends ago, being like, oh, I need to just do this instead of like wanting people to do that. Yeah, well, that's essentially what Dragon Mount was run off of for quite a while. I mean, it was a small server rack, but it was still just in Jason's closet for a long time. And then I was like, oh right, as I was clicking the button to do it, I was like, I never put audio with this. So anyway, welcome, Rob. How are you?
I'm good. I've just got back from a weekend away, and I went and started a brand new job today. So it's been a crazy few days. So.
Well,
congrats, that's exciting.
Not to bring us down immediately, but I do want to bring something up because I had a couple of people reach out to me over the weekend to say, hey, I haven't seen you streaming Dragon Age. What's up, Arosa? And one person, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Brothers. I don't remember. So a couple of people were like, I got invested in your extremely bisexual, extremely thirsty, dragonborn secret sociopath, and I want to know what happens to him. Because for those who played Baldur's Gate, there's a whole thing with especially in the community right now about how thirsty the companion characters are. And while I was streaming, I kind of made the statement that I was going to romance everybody. So I've romanced 3 characters so far, 1 female and 2 men. So he is bisexual, very, and also very thirsty, apparently, because it's just like every conversation I have with my companions, I try to romance them. Anyway, so last week on Wednesday, I believe it was, my wife actually was unceremoniously laid off from her job because we live in a capitalistic hellscape that sucks. She worked for an internet startup company and they fired like 15 people. So the last 10 days or so, or however long it was, has been a little stressful, and I've been just basically spending most of the time with my wife and hanging out with her. So I will get back to a more regular schedule with streaming, I want to say after the marathon that we're going to do, which I'll pimp out in a second, and once the season 1 starts. So like another maybe week or 2 once we rejigger some stuff and settle some stuff out. Though on the positive side of that, if they sell the company, which is what we think they're doing, Aaron has stock in it. So hopefully that, that's a stock option that they give you when you get hired at like startups.
Silver lining.
In that case, I'm praying for a stock sale, a company sale at a huge stock price to get you a little something out of it. So
you and me both. Anyway, so that's not to get too in depth into it, but that's essentially. I do feel like, as realizing that actually we do have people that watch us and that care. So I feel a little bit of a responsibility to let y'all know why I disappeared, and that's why I wanted to tell everybody. So the Wheel of Time community has meant a lot to me over the last 20 years, and I mean the majority of my best friends and some people I would label as family I met through either JordanCon or Tarvalon.net or Dragonmount. So, I love y'all, and we're in this shit together. So I'll be back to normal hopefully in the next week or two. So anyway, I mentioned the marathon that we're going to be doing. So that is going to be on August 26th at 11 a.m. We're going to be starting.
Nice.
We are going to watch all of season 1 and do some little intermission stuff in between episodes. I can tentatively say that we will have at least 2 surprise guests. So I won't say exactly who they are, but they are intimately involved in the Wheel of Time. We're going to have a lot of people from Dragonmount. We're going to have a lot of content creators that I still need to double check with, that my plan was to double check with over the last 10 days, but I haven't. So Rob, if you're available on the 26th and want to pop in at any point, feel free.
I'm sure I can figure something out.
Okay. I appreciate you.
For you, Tom.
Yeah. Yay! We're going to be watching all of season 1. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk through the episodes. This is not a first time watch, so please don't expect us to sit there quietly and watch them. It's going to be over on Twitch, so that you can actually watch along with us. But it is also going to be a charity stream where we're going to be raising money for the victims of the fire over in Maui. So our goal is $2,000. You don't have to donate, obviously. If you're not, speaking for myself at this point, if you're not in a financial position to donate any sum of money, then just sharing the link for the stream itself and for the charity, you'll be able to just take the link right from that and share that out is hugely helpful. Even if you only if everyone that watches shares the link and each person gets one person and then they share it, each person gets one person, we're at 200 people donating really fast. So yeah, even if you can't watch, go and check the link for the charity once it's posted, because it gets posted at the same time as the live, because it's generated for the live. So, once we go live on the 26th, you'll see it, and share that out, because a lot of people over there are hurting way worse than I am at this point. So that was a little sobering remembrance for me there. But, there's a lot of nonsense going on and they need our help, our thoughts, good vibes, all of that. So, yeah, be there with that for us. We'll have some giveaways that we're going to be doing. And like I said, 2 at this point, at least, very special guests. We might have a couple more that I need to also double check with. But other than that, Rob, Crystal first, because you haven't said anything yet. How is life with you? What are you up to Wheel of Time wise? Are you rereading the books? Are you rewatching the show? What do you have going on? How are things?
Good. No, life is good. I'm a teacher, so I've got that beginning of the year brain happening right now. I started a reread over the summer in June and fell flat on my face. And then we had a wonderful, just did not make it out of book 1. We had a wonderful, I told Tom about this, power outage in the heat for 3 days where there was nothing to do but either stare at my children or husband or start reading books. And I made it all the way through the Great Hunt in that couple days. So I've stalled since, but I intend to get through the 3rd book before the end of the month. So
okay. Was the unnatural heat happening at that point still in the book? I don't remember.
Oh, not that. I don't think that happens that early on. That's
no, that's in
that's
3, right?
The winter. It's the winter in the first book. It's unnaturally cold for a long time, and then book 3 is when I was going to say that could be a little triggering for you if you were at book 3 or 4.
I don't know where it is where you guys are, but it is 103 today where I am, and it is awful.
Yeah, it was 100 and it was 100 and I was out cutting the grass this weekend and it was 112. No.
Yeah, I need to do math for a second. I'll let you know what it is here.
Oh right, yeah I forgot.
Sorry.
Rob is joining us from the UK. for people that don't know, it's stupid o'clock in the morning for him. He must really like us to be able to hang out with us like this.
I do. It's 2:11 a.m. currently. Here it's
my
like
God.
70 degrees. That's what it's been like.
That's nice.
That's
I know, right?
beautiful.
Lovely.
That's beautiful.
I mean, you guys, you've had spikes where it's been crazy though, right?
Yeah, we had I want to say like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. It got up into the hundreds.
Yeah.
A lot of Europe's got that at the moment, where it's like 100 degrees. Prague was like that at the weekend. It was like 105 or something like that.
Oof.
So
yeah, people don't realize how north of the equator Europe actually is. Like, it's not at the same longitude.
We're like level with like mid Canada, basically. That's where I am.
Yeah. That's a lot of people, because they look at the stupid the Mercator projection maps. They don't understand the size or locations of most of the of countries. One of my favorite West Wing episodes is dives into that, and it's a lot of fun. Actually, Nick Offerman, one of his first acting gigs was in that episode of the West Wing. That's Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec and lots of other people. Oh my God, Noman Garden. I'm so sorry, man.
That's awful.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's rough.
Oh God.
That is rough.
Dude, if Erin didn't lose her job right now, I would literally be like, how much is it to fix your AC? And I would send you money. Like, I feel so bad. Like, that's so terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. If there's anything that we could do, if you need distraction from shit, feel free to reach out to me. I'm home all the time, so that sucks. I hate being hot. I would much rather be cold.
You can put your layers on.
Yeah, only so much you can take off and keep your job or not get arrested. So
yeah. Or even be comfortable. I mean, even if you're in your house, it's not fun just sitting around naked, sweating on things.
I have a leather sofa.
I mean, I don't know what you all get up to, but being naked, sweating on things around my house, like, clearly you're doing it wrong. So,
well, listen, if there's, that is why I feel bad for not having been streaming the past couple of days. But I'm glad that we can help Noman Garden. And anything we can do. It's man, I totally know what it's like to be out of AC and power for time. Like my wife said earlier, we've been through natural disasters. We had a month of no electricity after Hurricane Sandy in New York. Like there was 9 feet of water in the house. So like, it sucks. It is not fun. And then the fact that we live in a capitalistic hellscape doesn't help the matter at all. So yeah. Oh man, yeah. The city, see, like I don't know where you're at in New York, Arosa, but like Manhattan is weird because even when it's super duper hot in Manhattan, it's like there are parts of the city where it's like unbearable because if you're inside, like where all the buildings and stuff are, it sometimes it'll create a wind tunnel where there's a nice breeze, and sometimes it's just stagnant, hot air that doesn't move, and it's miserable. But for the most part on the island, it's nice and breezy because it's an island essentially in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We'll get away from the Dark One's touch on our own world to talk about the Dark One's touch on the world of the Wheel of Time in the TV show world for now. But I'm sure we'll delve into the books too. So spoiler warning, I'm sure we're going to have spoilers for season 1 of the Wheel of Time TV show. We probably will have some light spoilers for up to book 2. If we go beyond that, we'll try to mention it. We're usually pretty good about that. I will put a spoiler warning up on the screen so that you can monitor that as well. All right. I want to start off with our friends over at the Dusty Wheel posted a question this past weekend on their Twitter, X, whatever the frick that.
Still calling it Twitter.
Yeah, me too. I don't want to call it that.
Right.
It's
just X me. Like what? No,
absolutely not. And you know what? I even be like. Let alone that it's stupid, like that it's a dumb name. I don't want to call it that because he wants us to call it that.
Yeah.
That just makes me not want to use it even more.
And on top of that, the web address is still twitter.com.
Yeah. I still get the emails from Twitter.com also.
God.
It's hilarious. Okay, so our friends over at the Dusty Wheel posted this tweet, and it is, what is your favorite book, character, Forsaken, theory, and what animals should Kevin Photoshop you as? Oh God, I love Kevin so much. I have been I have a folder in my Wheel of Time, like, screenshots of just Trolloc nipples for him. So
That's
if someone hacked my computer and found that, I don't know what they would think. Anyway, Crystal, and anyone in chat, give us a shout out and to answer any of these questions, and we can talk about that. But for me, I don't have a favorite book. It's I've been told that this is not being able to pick something like this is part of my neurodivergency, but I didn't know that. It really depends on my mood, but I have a favorite scene, and it happened in a certain book, so I could say that maybe the Great Hunt, the end of the Great Hunt. There's a scene with Ingtar particularly that is my favorite scene in the entire series. Like, it's a redemption scene, and it's between two male characters again, and it's very emotional, and I really enjoyed that scene a lot. It's even like reading it for the first time, I remember that sticking with me, like, throughout the whole series. What about you guys?
This is super unpopular, and I don't ever like to talk about it because I remember Jason making fun of me for my favorite book, but it's Crossroads of Twilight.
I knew you were going to say Crossroads of Twilight. I could tell that was coming. I'm not going to take the neck. I like this. I'm fine with this.
I know.
I love it.
Like, so many people are like, it runs parallel to the timeline in Winter's Heart, and I know that, but there's just my favorite character, which is also probably highly predictable, being Matt, which was not my favorite character the first, like, 2 or 3 times I read the series, has some things, and we can't talk about it, right? Has some things that happen in that book that I just really like, but every time I tell, someone in our fandom that, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's my favorite.
Personally, the slog isn't real. Like, that's
I agree.
That's not a thing for me.
Well, it's funny. So I have the slog is not real, but the way that everything feels frozen is real. And I say to people now, it was one of the only good things I've ever seen come out of Reddit. So someone said the reason the slog feels the way it does is because it's intentionally written that way, because the dark. Oh no, can I say vague spoilers to be like, okay, so the Dark One is doing something to the world, okay, and RJ wrote it so that you then feel that as the reader as well.
Okay.
And if you've read the books, then you'll know what I mean.
Love it, Aaron.
Yeah. So, and I was like, so that makes the non-existent slog feel better, in my opinion. Than just genius.
Yeah. Like he wrote it to provoke the feeling of cold, apart, isolation, slow moving. I mean, I can totally
it just makes it so meta. You're experiencing what the characters are experiencing.
Yeah, and I guess like a really good writer can really evoke those emotions in the reader. And man, I mean, like not even that book or that sequence in the full overarching story notwithstanding, like, he does it for me at least throughout the whole series.
Yeah, agreed. So
favorite Forsaken for me is 100% Agenor. I don't know about you guys, but I love Agenor's, like, not in like the way they act or anything like that, but like their background and story. I love, like, not alternate history. I mean, I love alternate history, but like I like backstory on things and like the origins of things. So like the fact that Agenor is the origin of the Shadow Spawn and the reason why he turned to the Shadow, for me personally, is one of the more, if not the most interesting. So that's why I really love Agenor. You know, he's responsible for creating the Trollocs in the books, and he's just a fucking Nomengarden.
Yeah,
Just a misunderstood animal lover. He just I had being, which is funny because they asked for a theory. Matt Hatch, who is the innkeeper at the Dusty Wheel, at JordanCon for years. I mean, and we still do it. Just I don't think we've done it every year in the last like 6 or 7 years, but every year we had, you know, when there was a new book coming out, there was at least one and sometimes two Loony Theory panels where Matt, it was usually it was Matt, and then it was usually like Sarah Nakamura when she used to come every year. I've been on the panel a couple times. Maria's done it a couple times because of like the funny, ridiculous stuff that would come out of it. And I had a Loony Theory years ago that Agenor was just trying to make like a pet for himself, and then accidentally like he was just trying to make his best friend, you know, like he was trying to make like a hyper intelligent dog or something, and accidentally made the Trollocs.
Fair. Very fair. So I like that.
Yeah. But what about y'all? What answer to any of the other questions that we got?
I'm real cliche when it comes to favorite book and Forsaken. It's got to be Shadow Rising and Asmodean. I'm so cliche with those things.
I like Asmodean too.
Yeah. Wheel of Time character. I'm a huge Perrin fan. Like Perrin he's been my favorite. He was my favorite the first time I read the books. He's been my favorite ever since. It's over 20 years I've been reading them, and I've never changed that. So my appreciation for other characters has gone up and down, but Perrin has always been number one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The fun fact, I don't know if you know, and
Wheel of Time fun fact.
I love I clipped so many of Kitty's TikToks for stuff because she said shit like that in her TikTok. She didn't record that for me. That's just from one of her TikToks that I was like, I made a video for her when she hit 1,000 followers, and I was like, oh, I'm fucking clipping. I'm using all of these things. She said I could. I asked first. But anyway, Robert Jordan identified he identified himself in all of the male characters, and some of the female characters are a part of his own little bit of his own personality. He famously has said that he based all of the female characters off of Harriet, his wife, which is both lovely and terrifying. But he said that he most identifies and Perrin is most like him. So
yes.
Fun fact there for that. I also love Perrin. I as a young kid reading it, I identified most with Perrin as well. I was always bigger than everybody else, and I had a lot of the same issues that Perrin did. I was always a slow speaker and slow thinker. I know you wouldn't peg me as that now. I actually had a terrible stutter as a kid, so the way I compensated for it was I would speak really slowly, and I often got accused of that as a kid, is the same things that he does, is like a slow thinker and slow to act and stuff. So I really, really, really identified with that, especially because I was using the Wheel of Time as an escape system.
See, for me, I liked him at the beginning. I could say I love him now, but what you guys love and identify with him is what I hated the most. I'm like, come on, you need to make these decisions faster. That's always where I struggled with him. So I'm like, come on, you got to move a little quicker. I think that's why I love Matt. He doesn't even think; he just does.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things for me is I remember. So I don't know if he did this multiple times, but I know he did at least twice one night. Barney, back in the day on Instagram, when he had that month where he went wild on Instagram. And he did a couple of lives and invited a fan on with him and chatted to them for 2 minutes, and then was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I was lucky enough to be one of them. And he asked me who my favorite character was. I was like, really sorry, Matt, it's Perrin. And he's like, oh, Marcus is going to love that,
That's fantastic. That's fucking fantastic.
His face is I felt real bad. I'm like, oh, I'm chatting. That was my first interaction with anybody from the show whatsoever. And I had to one of the first things he asked me is to be like, yeah, sorry, you're not my favorite character, dude.
I probably would have lied. I would have lied. I would have been like, yeah, you're my favorite.
You are. It's totally you. No, but
Love
hey,
you.
listen, at least you stick in his head. Like that would be something that's stuck in my head. Like this guy had the balls to be like honest. Like yeah, that's funny.
I try to be, you know.
Is she? Is Shamayo?
She's getting enough love in the show, man. He don't need no love in the books, like you know.
Especially what I forgive me if I'm butchering his name. Fairs.
Ferris, yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced. Yeah.
The actor who's playing Ishamael on the show. Oh man, he's gonna get enough love. Everyone's beautiful. Why is everybody beautiful?
So true. So true.
But no, yeah, I mean, Ishamael was cool. Like, I mean, looking at the Forsaken and their job descriptions prior to the Shadow Falling really gives you an idea of like the value that the people in the Age of Legends placed on interesting things. Like, he was a philosopher, but he got a third name because of that,
Mm-hmm.
like that's interesting. Like based off of his life's work in philosophy, he qualified enough to get a third name. So like it's an interesting concept when you think about like what constitutes people being that level of not just fame but renown in our world. Like would a philosopher ever reach that point?
Yeah.
I mean, like we give like, and not that they don't all deserve it or anything, but we give people that are, basketball players and football players and musicians, a lot of props for having philosophical points of view. But there are people out there who focus their entire lives on those philosophical points of view who get no recognition. So
I mean, Chidi Anagonye,
I fucking love The Good Place. I love you. Like I loved you before, but I've fallen in love with you more in the fact that was who you brought up for that. Chidi Anagonye is a character from The Good Place. If you haven't watched that show, immediately watch it.
You need
It's
to go
fantastic.
watch it. Seriously, it's just gonna change your life. Chidi, yes, Aaron, you're right. Chidi is amazing. That show just killed me. In a good way. So.
Yeah, I so good. Ted Danson. Who knew Ted Danson still had it in him?
I
Is there
literally
any other-
like 3 weeks ago, I watched Three Men and a Little Baby, Three Men and a Baby, and I was just like, oh my god, this is
Love
Ted
that
Danson.
movie.
Yeah. So sorry, don't want to tangent too much, but yeah.
No.
I was like,
I love. That's such a good movie.
Does it hold up? I haven't seen that in probably 15
You know
years.
what? I would say most of it holds up pretty decent. There are some things there that just, like, okay, that doesn't really hold up too well. But
Ooh.
some things really, like, sometimes you watch a movie from like the 80s and 90s, like, this does not hold up in the slightest. Like Three Men and the Baby held up, I would say, at least 80% of the time.
That's awesome.
And the things that didn't hold up, they were like on the lower scale of like that doesn't hold up over time, rather than being like, wow, that's really not okay these days.
That's
It's more like,
bad.
that's like, we know better than that, but like if someone did it, it's not like, them being super sexist or racist. It's more like, that's now you're getting inappropriate. It's kind of where it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, generally with stuff from the 80s, it's the homophobia and toxic masculinity that usually plays through. But there's a lot of movies that don't do that too. I gotta pull this up because this is a great. I never thought of it that way, of the third name being like that times version of a Nobel Prize, because it could be in a different category. There's Nobel Prize for physics. There's Nobel Prize for peace and medical advancement. So that's a really good way to look at it. I think that's going to be my new headcanon if that's not real. Like that's great. And then obviously the idea of having the Ig Nobel Prize as a name being taken away is funny. I wonder if anyone ever had that.
So I just have a question for you two. Who's your favorite female character? Like, who's your favorite female?
My favorite character is a female. My favorite.
Okay, who's your favorite?
My favorite character is Maureen.
Okay.
So I loved Maureen from when I first read the series. I like I said, I identified most with Perrin, and I imagined myself as Perrin when I read it, even as a young kid. But I really loved Maureen's character, and I remember as a kid talking. So small tangent, but not really. I used to cut class all the time in high school and go to I was in special education in high school because I'm severely dyslexic and have ADHD. And that was my the special education room was the only room that allowed you to take all of your written tests on a computer. So like I was able to type everything because that was back in the day, not every classroom had a computer in it. We had a mouse with a ball in it.
And floppy disk.
Actually floppy 8.5-inch floppy disks. Yes.
Yep.
It wasn't even a computer. It was a word processor, to be perfectly honest. But I used to just leave class and sit in her class and read. And she felt like I was doing good. Like it was good that I was reading. It was bad that I was cutting class, but it was good that I was reading and not like out smoking weed or getting into trouble. So like she started having the teachers send their work to her class, and I just started going to her class because like they leaned into it. It was, you know, it was the late 90s, so like it wasn't super strict on stuff, and you know, it was in New York, so it was a little bit more liberal in the schooling. So we did that, but she started talking to me about the books, and I started telling her about characters, and I told her about my favorite character and how it was Maureen, and I was describing it to her. So she felt the need to like lean into like teaching me a little bit about storytelling and writing and literature. So she was the one that first posed to me that Maureen was Gandalf. I mean, obviously, us looking back at it now, like that's the role that Maureen fit in the first books, and especially since the first book almost mirrors Fellowship and Two Towers. So the fact that Robert and she really liked the fact that Robert Jordan had used a young looking, at least, and good looking female character who wasn't like an evil witch or blah blah blah, you know, any of the tropes from literature for that, as the I forgot what you call it, the in the hero's journey there's the teacher, but is one version of it, but it's like the call to action, or the quest giver is another one. Like that person in the hero's journey thing is 99% of time, especially in fantasy literature, a male, and it's usually an older wizened male, which I mean like even in biblical stories like it is, like if you go back to the biblical stories and read the heroes, which has a lot of that in there. And the fact that Robert Jordan used a female character for that really made me interested. And then that caused me, her talking about it in that way. She was a young teacher at the time too. She was only like 28. So her being really interested in that caused me to attach to Maureen a little bit more, and then pay attention to her story a little bit more than I think I maybe would have as a 14, 15-year-old boy. But she's always been my favorite. Maureen has always been I remember going to the first Jordan Con. The first two people that I met ever at Jordan Con was Sarah Nakamura and Christy Lusser or Lucier. I never remember how she pronounces her last name.
I think it's Lucier. That's how she said it.
Okay. I know it's like a French pronunciation, and I always butcher that. They were working at the registration table, and they had their Team Maureen shirts, and I got so excited because I was like, Team Maureen, I'm totally Team Maureen. And then they were like, well, you have to sit with us. And then I started working at the registration table at Jordan Con at the first one, just because of that.
Amazing.
That just shows how welcoming the fandom was, though. We knew nobody at that first Jordan Con. My wife and I went when we were a month into dating. But yeah, she is my favorite character, who also just happens to be a female. What about you, Rob?
God's favorite female character. I think. I mean, I enjoy a lot of female characters. Yeah. I mean, Eludra's always awesome. I've developed a greater appreciation for. I think more sort of like the lesser characters that people often just turn around and be like, oh, yeah, like, you know, I've never hated Nynaeve, but she's never been high on the scale for me either. Elaine comes and goes. I think she's more a character I enjoy when she's trying to be less noble. I suppose. I don't know. And Egwene, I don't like Egwene, actually, now that I've said that. Yeah, so I'm not actually a Egwene fan. Yeah. But yeah, like Eludra, you know, some who's the woman who's an innkeeper who used to be in Aes Sedai.
Satella Nan.
Satella Nan. I love Satella Nan.
She's fantastic.
I love the woman who ends up with Bail Doman, whose name eludes me as well right now.
Again,
yeah, I think she's great. Some of the some of the IEL characters are hilarious.
All of the
Soralia,
wise ones.
all the wise, yeah, exactly, all the wise ones. You know,
Every
it's
on-screen maiden too. I don't think there's a single on-screen maiden, even Melindra, who I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
like.
Absolutely,
I don't like
yeah,
Melindra
like-
when she takes her knife out to kill Matt. That's pretty much
Yeah.
the moment when I started not liking.
That's fair. And I'm always had a soft spot for Mistress. Oh, there we go. Matt Stagger's with Mistress Laris. I just love her, like wielding
Matt
the
Stagger?
giant wood spoon. Yeah, so it's like, you know, it's harder to pick. Whether there's a lot to appreciate about a lot of the female characters. They all bring so many things. Whereas the guys, it's easy to be like, yeah, like he's funny or he's this, but like, you know, yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I identify with parents so much more. But yeah, Goat Brother's right. Fael is great. I even appreciate Fael at the beginning because she's like, she has like such an amazing arc. She changes so much. Whereas I feel like some people, like some of the characters, like both male and female characters, don't change a huge amount from where we meet them to where they end up. Fael changes like completely, you know. Imagine she's a spoiled kid hunting for the horn, and she ends up being this, you know, badass woman who runs a very pain in the ass husband. Let's be honest about it. Like a whole nation, you know,
a spy
network creates a new subculture of IEL wannabes, you know, and then gets an opportunity to have the horn and, you know, doesn't, you know, just passes it on immediately and be like, you know, I need to protect someone else getting the horn. Like, what a journey for her. You know, become such an awesome woman that, you know, compared to, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so
it slipped by. We're good.
But yeah, so I just have to,
Robert Jordan did a great job. Ooh, Matt Stagger, thank you so much, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Flesh Tom. My felt form is hanging out with me right now too. He's
felt form.
He's actually sitting with my other friend here. Hold on, I have a special surprise for you guys. I set up prior to the stream. Cat cam.
Yay!
Love that. He's sitting with my cat over here. This is my cat Luna. He is 19 years old. But yes, thank you so much, Matt Stagger. That is super appreciated. We love you. Yeah, it's Flesh Tom inside of Felt Tom. It's he uses me like a puppet when I am when I'm on the thing. I do enjoy it though, I will say. But Robert Jordan does have a lot of failings when it comes to the writing of the female characters. You know, I mean, everyone gives him a lot of appreciation for the way he depicts females in the world of the Wheel of Time, and given they're well deserved. But in the same breath, you still have to mention there's a lot of questionable things, and there's a lot of other stuff too. Having met him once and known Harriet Maria and seen a lot of his interviews and read stuff about a lot of his personal takes on things and responses to questions on things, I think it's more of a lack of understanding of the impact of what he was writing than it was a malice or knowledgeable. Like he wasn't in the know that some of the stuff that he was writing was questionable or bad. I think personally, just based off of what I've read of him and what I've seen of him and what I know of him, I do genuinely think he tried to be progressive in that vein. And we just, I mean, as good as he did in the Wheel of Time, it just shows how far we still have to go.
Agreed.
I agree. It's hard to write, you know, your opposite gender. I am a very much aspiring writer myself, and I meet with like a writing group, and that's one of the things that like I've been working on is being able to write from that perspective, and it's because you haven't lived it. It's harder to put yourself into that lens.
Yeah. I know having worked with writers and editors and publishers for a long time at JordanCon, and befriending a lot of them and hearing a lot of the stuff that they go through and stuff, particularly in this case, Jason Denzel. There's a thing that they do now, which is fantastic. They have, I forgot the exact title of this type of person, but it's like a voice coach, but not voice as in speaking voice. It's voice as in culturally wording things as coming from a person of that identity. So like a character in Jason's books is a young I don't know if it's a future. I don't remember. I don't want to say African American, but she's a dark-skinned female. So she's a young black female character. Jason Denzel is a old white dude. So like he's not that old. We make fun of him. He's a Gen Xer, but we always tell him he's like the oldest Gen Xer in the world. I love Jason. He knows that. But that's not, coming from that type of, as, Jason trying to write someone like that, you do need someone to look over those types of things to get the voice correct. You want the voice to be authentic and genuine and non-pandering, accidentally offensive. So this is a thing they do now. I'm not sure how long they've been doing it. I know it's only at least in the last 10 years that they do stuff like that. So I'm glad that they have started doing that as a help for people. And, being given that's Jason Denzel, who's a Tor author, not every author will be able to do stuff like that, but if you're a personal, not personal, self-published author, that you could, reach out to friends and family, ask them to look over stuff for you, it's, and then, give them a little shout out in your book. That's how stuff starts. That's a large portion of Brandon's early books. If you go and look at the acknowledgments, there'll be people's names in there. You have no idea who they are. Most of them are people from JordanCon and Tarvalon.net parties that we used to go to, particularly in the first Wax and Wayne book. There's a guy that that is a Tarvalon.net member. His name is Dominic. I forgot his last name. He was a good friend, for a while when I was on there. He is an explosive expert. That's his job. Like he tests manufacturers, comes up with safety stuff for explosives. That's what he's has degrees in, and that's what he's trained in. That's what his job is. And Brandon had him consult for some of the explosive stuff, like gunpowder and how gunpowder behaves in the Wax and Wayne Alloy of Law Mistborn second series that he did. So that type of stuff is just how communities get built. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help if you're, an aspiring writer, to friends, family, people in the community. You never know who you're going to find and what kind of help you'll get with stuff like that. But I think we're good with
Yeah. Do you want to? Did you have what the Twitter cast replied to this with?
Oh no, I didn't. What did they reply with? I'll go
there's
see
been
if I can put it
there's
up,
been
but
a
why don't you
whole
tell me?
sub thread in this. So yeah, you can literally scroll down the Twitter cast replied to this, and then there's been like a whole set of responses to this, which I've dived in on, and I have an opinion on as well.
Okay.
Because it's I don't
Because,
rant
of
about a lot
course,
of things,
'cause
but
we're
I might.
real-time fans.
Yeah, I don't rant about a lot of things, but I might rant about this one. So just throw that one out there, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, he replied. I say they. the
Oh,
Twitter
I
cast
remember
replied.
now. Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up on screen.
Oh, you're gonna post? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And they answered the questions that Matt put up.
Yep.
But they like capitalized certain words, and one was somewhat like fully capitalized as opposed to just the first letter of the word. And our good old Kevin Angus has gone through and been working on.
He is the best when it comes to like crunchy, looking into like the crazy level of things, like trying to get. Actually, hold on a second. Let me remove this and pull it up in a different program so we could zoom in without it losing quality, because I don't want it to lose quality.
That is helpful.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Kevin Angus is the Trolloc nipple connoisseur of the Wheel of Time fandom. He is one of my favorite people. And
Did you see what?
Oh, no, what?
So when I was in Prague this weekend with some friends, we went to see Romeo and Juliet that the Prague Shakespeare Company was putting on, because it starts Taylor Napier, Jessica Boone, and Guy Roberts was directing and also playing Mercutio, which was just incredible.
That's
probably
amazing.
Talk about that a lot this week, to be honest.
Yeah.
But there was a poster of Taylor and Jessica that was used to advertise. I actually have a copy of the poster. I'd have to go over and get it. which I was lucky enough to I stole off the wall with Guy's permission, and then they were signed for me.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I got we lucky enough to invite to the after party, and they signed it for me. But me and Loyal's Library, who was there with us, we recreated the image, which Taylor and Jessica found absolutely hilarious, and they were like, we saw this and just died of laughter about it. But then then Kevin photoshopped our faces out and put it on the original poster. It's like Kevin is like the king of Photoshop. But yeah, so you see this, replied to a few things here, and Kevin's got out of this SIEB, and I don't know why he's scratch.
Oh yes, the fundraiser. How what was your final on the fundraiser? Sorry, not to interrupt.
I didn't do the fundraiser because I was away in Prague.
You were away in Prague, yeah.
I offered originally to say no, Ali and Gus just use StreamYard's the free version whenever they do their streams, because they just they don't do live streams very often. Their podcast is their platform, and I said I pay for StreamYard, so I'm quite happy to you can use my account, we'll get you logged in, and all the jazz with that. I think they initially aimed for $1,000, which they raised in like the first 15 minutes or something crazy.
Of course,
like that. So I think they extended it to 4,000 because they went to 2, and then that was quickly raised. So they stretched it to 4. In the end, they raised $10,600 and something.
That's awesome, and that was for the Entertainment Community Fund.
Yes, for the Entertainment Community Fund, which was just incredible. So people keep thanking me for it. I'm like, I did nothing. I got on a call with Ali for a little while, made sure she could log in, and then I liaised with Gus a little bit because he knew StreamYard, but Ali's taking over. So it was like, they were in a weird transition phase where Ali's going to handle the streaming stuff and producing stuff. So I was just like, I started with her, and then Gus came back to me with questions, and I was just like, yeah, from Prague, I'm emailing him about things, and then they were fine. So I really didn't do much. I was like, I just made sure they had access to the account, made sure they had things there that they needed, and then I left them to it. Like, I think I checked in twice. So
facilitating is a big help, and that's great. Yeah. So good on you.
Well, thank you.
And big shout out to Ali and Gus, because that's amazing. $10,000 for the community fund. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's totally incredible. From this, so they got, assuming S for scratch. Because that's caps.
And then true is
I don't know.
The whole word true.
The whole word is true. I don't understand. Like, so Kev's got SIEB from this, and I don't know why.
Okay, let's see. Well, you know what? That's not even the whole tweet. So let me. What animals Kevin choice? But that's fine. We trust him, but we know we really shouldn't, is all they said. But there's no weird capitalization in there.
Right, yeah. So I'm assuming S. Oh, no. So S is scratch. Favorite Forsaken. The one with Kiefer Sutherland, Donald Sutherland. I don't know how that comes from.
That's the image right there. Forsaken.
Yeah, that's the image.
Yeah.
What is? So I'm assuming that's the I. Oh no. Okay, so I think right.
Those are from the other post that they made. Okay.
Somehow he's got an SIEB.
I think he's talking. So there, he probably pulled the capitalizations from the other posts that they made.
Oh, right.
Because that's what they reference there is the capitalizations from the other day.
Gotcha. Thank you. And Nomi Guns just put that in chat as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking at that, he's then made that through to 8315. I don't know how he's made that 8315.
Is that no? It doesn't correspond with the letter of the alphabet. No. Not sure. 8315. Why does that sound like a familiar number?
I don't care. How did he get 8315 from this? I do know, like, you know how Kev works. You just assume, like, oh yeah, he's got some numbers here. He's figured it out.
Listen,
he's not actually said that somewhere now. I've said it's like, Kev, how did you get 8315? I'm gonna have to tweet him. I know he's awake.
Yeah, of course he's awake. Go ahead and message him if he wants to hop in. Tell him he could hop in. The posts that they're referencing is when they posted those lovely posters, which I also have images of that I want to go look at again because Marcus Rutherford is beautiful in the first one. He's been staring at me this entire time we've been sitting here on my other screen. So I'm gonna pull those up. All right. Present. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so these are two of the posters that were up. Let me just make it just so that we only see one. I don't know why it did two. There we go. Okay, so these are the posters that we got shared with us through for our What Wednesday drop. It included with a bunch of other stuff, but I gotta just say how much I love this fucking vest. Still,
This is my favorite
It's
of all the
gorgeous.
verses that was dropped.
Yeah.
Like these two, and his vest just. You're right.
And the
American, this
eyes.
is perfection.
It's the eyes for me. Yeah, it's the eyes.
Oh yeah. Let me get a good zoom on those. On just the two faces are just so good. I can't wait to hear her speak as Avienda. Like, I'm so excited to see Avienda like interacting on camera in character. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like I was rewatching the first season. It's just like I can't wait for someone to say the word Avienda on TV.
Yeah.
Like, I still get excited when I go back and rewatch and I hear like Nynaeve. I'm like, oh, they said a name from the Wheel of Time on television.
Yeah. Sorry,
Go
go for it.
No, I was just going to say, I made my little list for tonight, and she was the one thing I needed from season 2. Like, I have such high expectations for Avienda. That is probably what I am the most excited about.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who we're lovingly calling the ABC maidens, Avienda, Bane, and Chia.
Yes.
I'm trying to make that a thing. Hashtag ABC maidens. I want it.
I like that.
But let's see what else we got. So yes. Well, actually, real quick. Do we think so? We've been theorizing for a while about the whole Wolf brotherliness of Perrin. So I know I've said it. I know other people have said it. Is Perrin's eyes going to remain yellow? Like, once he crosses the line to being a wolf brother, like I am now a wolf brother, I am in control of my powers. Will his eyes be yellow, or are they going to do a thing where it's more like he shifts into wolf form, or, not like a werewolf, but like, when he activates his werewolf powers, his eyes turn yellow. Like, basically, so the actor doesn't have to wear contacts all the time.
Well, I was just thinking it might be a way to make it, I had that thought too, just to make it more clear of when he's like reaching out to the wolves, you would see his eyes turn, because so much of that dialogue happens in his head in the books. And so I thought maybe that was how they were going to communicate it on screen. So I think they'll shift. That's
a good point. I didn't think of it like that, like just to give the viewer like visual notification when he's using his wolf power. So that's interesting. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's a solid option.
I hope they don't go that route, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I hope oh yeah, I've seen a lot of theories about that. I really, because
Uno is not dying.
When we see him laying on the ground, yeah, I don't think so either. I hope not. Not that no hate on you, Nerdy Guns, but I love Guy Roberts is fantastic. Like, I love his interaction with the community. Like, and I have never met him personally, and Rob has said nothing but glowing, loving things about him. So like, ugh. But
he just naps. Sorry, that was go, brother.
He's napping in the scene of the Shanshan just to let them know who's boss. That's what it is.
Exactly. Like, they're not even that, and then they're so close to not being a threat that he can just be like, "I'm gonna take a nap."
But I personally hope that they're just gonna they're doing this type of thing where he's just coming into his wolf brotherliness, and it hasn't taken full effect, so that's why it's shifting back and forth. And that once he does finally accept it or come into control of it or fully become a wolf brother or whatever you want to call it, it stays yellow. Like, I hope that.
Okay.
Personally, only because it has such an effect on Perrin's interactions throughout the series. There's an interesting juxtaposition.
His confidence.
Yeah. People do comment on his eye color. Yeah, you've got a good point there. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like there's just such a juxtaposition between his personality and his look, which is why I identify with him a lot. he looks like a mean, scary bastard. And then when he gets the yellow eyes on top of it, it's like, oh my God, you're terrifying. It's Trollic. Like he gets that sometimes. And he and Loyal kind of commiserate on that a little in a couple of scenes, which is I always found both funny and heartwarming and sad at the same time. But yeah, so I kind of hope they lean into it because I personally feel like it'll take away from Perrin's overarching storytelling as his personal character if it isn't, but I am still interested to see how and why they do it. I did not think of it as a visual cue of when he's using his powers, so it's a great point there, Crystal. I did not think about it like that. That's a really good reason to not do it. Like, I mean, even if the reason was just Marcus Rutherford can't stand wearing contacts, that's a good reason not to do it. So
yeah. So I've just found, scrolling Twitter through other things, that they have updated the explore section on the app. I assume on the website as well for watching Wheel of Time. So the characters have got their new visuals. Like, for example, I'm literally looking at the visual of Marcus dressed like this as his visual for his character bio. But now there's an update for Matt, but Kira's there. Leandrin, I don't know if she was there previously, but it's there. Avienda is there. Celine is there. Min is there. Lady Suroth and Ishi is there as well.
Nice. And he's labeled as a Shamael?
Yeah, he's labeled as a Shamael.
Okay. So I got to address this because someone said it in chat. So Jedi John, I can understand not liking the show, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone is entitled to an opinion of how they feel about something. And I'm glad that, that's the way you worded it, because that's perfectly a valid feeling to have. It's when people get toxic about it and it's like, this isn't the truth. And like, that's when I get angry. But I can say with some authority here, only because of how intimately I've known Harriet and Maria and Alan over the years. Like I said, I've only met Robert Jordan twice. So like, I can't say that I fully would say like 100% he would be okay with this show. But from what I know of him through his wife and the two people that worked on the series with him, he would have enjoyed this show. He always wanted the retelling of the story to be different, in the sense that it was a new telling of the story while still maintaining the heart of the characters and the story itself. Would he be okay with some of the decisions they made? Maybe not. I don't know. But and this is the only thing I have any kind of like, I give myself any props for. Like, I'm self-deprecating in every other aspect of my life, but when I talk about Wheel of Time, I really feel like I understand the Wheel of Time very well, having read it so many times and been a part of the community for so long. I personally feel that the showrunners and writers are doing a great job of getting the heart of what the story is so far. And some of the stuff that I'm questioning on, I still am willing to wait to see how they finish it. Like, we can't judge a story without knowing the story. So, I mean, we could judge the parts of it that we've seen, but like, I personally am withholding my full judgment until the end.
That's fair.
And to reference for Althor's Taint, that has been taken out of context and blown up a little bit. Specifically, the thing that is referenced to is the fridging of Layla. When Brandon said that they didn't listen to him, it wasn't about the overarching entirety of the show. He has said many times that he enjoyed the show and he likes the way that Rafe is going with it. The one thing they didn't listen to him about, and he has said this publicly, was the way Perrin's initial journey starts. He didn't like the way that they were going with it. But in that same breath, he doesn't know where they're going to end up with it. So maybe it is 100% necessary for them to have done it that way. So that's why I'm willing to hold out on that. I don't like when they fridge female characters because of the whole reason why the word fridging is a thing. Like, fridging a female character is a bad thing. But I'm willing to give them a little bit of a leeway here to see how they use it. Because, and this is a bit of a hot take, I've gotten hate on this before, I like if their plan is to show why Perrin as a character is the way he is toward the end of the series in his personal relationships, and they're building that off of what happened to this Perrin early on, I like that better than the book version of the story. Because it's just, Perrin is a little bit of a clingy, I don't want to say stalkerish, but he's a little bit overbearing. He's a little clingy. He's a little controlling. He's a little jealous. Like it's a little bit of a toxic aspects of a relationship. It doesn't bring. I don't personally, like, I'm not a woman, so I've never experienced this, but I don't think it boils to the point of fear inducing. But it is questionable at the very least, and I noticed that as someone who is a lot like Perrin in the sense of I'm a large, strong, intimidating looking person. So someone like Perrin being like that is a little concerning. But if the reason is because he has this horrible trauma that he went through, it gives a lot more deeper meaning to that behavior. And I like that. What about you guys?
I can kind of get on board with what you said there. I look at the TV show and I'm like, I know the books. I've read them multiple times. In fact, the earlier books I've read 20 odd times, listened to them, read them digitally, read them physically. I know the story. I imagine it in my head. I see it every time. It's not going to go anywhere, but I don't want to watch the TV show and have that again.
Exactly.
I want the excitement of a Wheel of Time. I don't know what's coming, or at least everything that's coming.
Yeah.
I'll know some things that's coming. And this is why I've literally said this to someone at the weekend. I was like, I wish that we didn't get Verin. Not Verin's story. I wish we just didn't get a character named Verin. And they gave her story to someone else.
So that we were surprised.
So we're like, who is it? We're trying to work it out, so on and so forth. And then show watchers could watch the show and then go read the books, and they're looking for the character from the show.
Exactly.
And then, exactly.
That's I never even thought of it like that. That's such a good idea.
No, I love that. I think for me, it was just the chance to have something Wheel of Time related that was new was exciting to me again. Like, just for a new lens into this world, I was excited. Not to say I loved everything. I can sit there and pick apart 1,000 things, but it was a chance for something new, and I love that. I get excited about it every single day.
Yeah. And I get it's hard. I've got my friend's fiance. He grew up reading the books with his brother while they were both serving, and their father. The three of them kept connected because they shared these books together. And the TV show to him is a visual representation of losing that story, and that's where he comes from. And I get that, and he gets very upset as a result. So we don't talk TV show together, obviously, then. But I understand where he's coming from. But to me, I'm just like, it's literally built into the story about how every time it comes around, it's a little bit different, another turning. And I'm just like, so it's literally canon that it can be different.
Yeah, and I would never hate on anybody for their personal feelings for anything. Well, for stuff like entertainment, music, TV, movies, books, but it's just when it turns to the level of toxicity that when it gets toxic,
that's different. Yeah.
You can not like something perfectly fine, and you can have very valid reasons not to like it. But when you think that other people shouldn't like it, or that there's some sort of gatekeepingness associated with it, that's when I get upset about that.
I agree. Yeah. If people don't like it, that's fine. There are things that I don't like that people love. Like, I don't like Egwene, for example. But there are like shows I don't like, and people are like, no, I love this. I'm just like, that's not for me.
I actually prefer TV show Nynaeve to book Nynaeve, at least early book Nynaeve, because early book Nynaeve keeps things from the characters that are detrimental only simply because it makes her look bad. Like, she keeps information from people that need this information or would benefit greatly from information, simply because it makes her look bad or dumb or ignorant or in some way less than whoever.
She had a huge ego. She had a huge ego in the books. Yeah, that's why I've always struggled with her.
Yeah. And then this new Nynaeve, the new older version of the character, is like, her mentality is that of the later book Nynaeve, where she is more empathetic with others, understanding that it's not like, everyone isn't thinking about her in this type of way, and like, everything isn't about her. So like she understands when she needs to put her ego. She still has that ego and that chip, and they're playing that into the character, I think, well, while at the same time knowing when she should put it aside and act in the good for everybody else. You too, Jedi John. You may you find water and shade and wake from the dream. And
You too, yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you on other stuff.
Gnome, hold on. Gnome,
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think, though, the two go hand in hand. Like, the insecurity kind of feeds into those ego. I think you can't have one without the other. But I completely agree. She was incredibly insecure at being young, all of that. But I do think she still had a lot of ego because of that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I could see that too, because I am inherently a very insecure person too. So yeah, no, that's a good point. And like I could see that in her. And that brings up another thing that I really liked about the show, specifically with Nynaeve. She uses her braid in the book as a security blanket of sorts. She grabs it and tugs it in times of, yes, when she's angry and stuff, and it's kind of like a nervous twitch, but sometimes she uses it as like like, look, I'm a woman, I'm not a girl. Like when she grabs it, sometimes she's almost showing it to the person that she's talking to, to tell them, I have my hair braided, I am a woman, because like in the tours, you braid your hair and now you're a woman. But like, or to show them that she's an adult, or to show them that she has position, I'm a wisdom, to like remind them, and then sometimes to remind herself too, which is not a bad part of that. But in the show, which is one of my favorite scenes in the entire series in the show so far, has been the opening of episode 1, which is the women's circle going to that little cliff face to braid Egwene's hair. And when they were braiding her hair, everyone taking a turn braiding her hair, and they told Nynaeve, if you ever are in trouble or upset or scared or whatever, just, touch this braid and know that every one of the women here and every one of the women who came before them that braided all of their braids are there with you. And that adds such a, just that, what was that? 3 minutes? 4 minutes? Like that would have been a half a page in a book. Added so much depth to that little thing that Nynaeve did throughout the entire series, more so than making it just like kind of a nervous, annoying thing that she would do. So I liked that a lot. Anyway, let's go to another poster.
Yeah.
Since we went off on a million tangents here. Obviously, I think we could unequivocally say, for those who don't know, this is not a hood. There was a little bit of a fun back and forth on Twitter of Time about
Do you know how much
this.
it happened that Memo actually made, I think, pins or badges or whatever you want to call them, the ones that you sort of like pin through onto your top or something. She made a whole selection that's like team hood, team hair that she's bringing to MalkierTalks for people to have. So yeah, that's how much it permeated through the fandom. It was very funny.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah, so I guess we could see definitely not a hood. So Natasha O'Keefe, amazing in Peaky Blinders, for those who haven't seen Peaky Blinders. I'm so excited to see her as Celine, which I think she's billed as in the stuff.
Yes.
Obviously, I think as a book reader, spoiler alert, we can safely say that she's going to end up being Lanfear. But maybe this is an instance where where what you're saying may be a thing, Rob. Like, they're going to trick the book readers into thinking that this is Lanfear when it's just Celine. That would be interesting, but I don't think they're going to do that with this character.
No, I don't think they would do that with this character. I agree.
It's an interesting looking
oh
belt
my
buckle.
God, he's got a heron buckle.
That's belt
stunning.
buckle. Yeah, that's
Oh my
cool. I didn't
God.
notice that until just now.
I need to who is this prop master? I need to
I
dude,
know.
make
Make
me
me everything. I love his coat
yeah.
too. Like this coat is interesting. It's all these different colors. You think maybe the weaves of the pattern, the weaves of the power, the colors of the Aja. Like there's a lot of there's orange. So, oh man, that's interesting. And then I think all of them have this same superimposed. Yeah, it's the same in all the posters. It's cut differently, like on the Perrin poster. So here, let's go back to the Perrin poster for a second. Yeah, the Perrin poster has a little bit more of this image. It's the image of Guy Roberts fighting with the Shanshan, and then a little less of that side. But this Rand one is opposite. It has a little bit less of that one, a little bit more of those. Yeah, so I think it's the same image for this overlay, but they just cropped it slightly different. So there's not too much to look into there.
No, I agree. I think it's just that recent one.
Yeah, it's just the fight with the Shinarans and the Shanshan. So yeah, beautiful. Love her dress. Love her. I'm excited to see Natasha O'Keeffe. Do you guys have any thoughts?
I mean, I haven't seen her in Peaky Blinders. Like, I watched the scene, but I've not like watched the whole thing. I just you can tell even from the posters that just all the costuming has been really upgraded. You know, although Matt's coat seems to be the same, but that I really think fits because it's you know, it shows that he's really not done much in the you know, however long it's been since between season 1 and season 2. Take care, Jedi John. Thank you for stopping by. You know, so it gives he's not done anything, whereas like, you know, we believe Rand is like, you know, gone a bit traveling, and you know, Marcus is sorry, by the way, I'm going to flip between show name and actor name mid sentence.
Me too. I do it too. You're all good.
Is it not the same, Noma Garden? Oh, okay. Maybe it's different in the poster.
I'll pull up an image of Matt from season 1 and see if we can put them next to each other.
I mean, can you just flip to the Matt poster?
To the Matt poster, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Is that not the same coat?
Oh my god!
Oh no. Okay, so
fucking amazing.
Okay, so it has been upgraded. Okay, so it's thematically the same, but it has been upgraded. Okay, fair. Yeah, the costuming is just brilliant. I'm not sure exactly what I'm getting with Min's topless sleeve thing here. I don't know how there's a name for that outfit. I don't know what it is. But I'm just noticing, does she have similar tattoos to Swan now?
It looks like she has. I mean, obviously she has tattoos, but
that's giving me similar vibes to Swan's tattoos.
Yeah,
Not
she's
same,
Andoran
obviously.
in the books, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, she could be different in the show. So
yeah, I mean, they found her in Faldara. I mean, just because she has tattoos doesn't mean she's not Andoran, but she doesn't have any kind of accent. We've never heard her made any water or tear or ocean reference. Maybe, I mean, could be. She does have tattoos in a similar location to Swan's. Yeah, that's interesting. They don't look. Wow, my brain wants to say Nordic, but that's not it. They don't look aquatic. No, the word that means fucking on the water, but it's never mind. They don't look. They don't look. You know, themed for like, you know, boating or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
They're very angular. There's lines, the dots. I'm not sure. It's interesting. She's gorgeous though. Oh my god! Yeah. Like I just couldn't resist it when it popped up. I was like, I've seen it before, but I was still just like, fuck.
I mean,
and the leather, like I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's fucking. She's wearing it, and it looks great. Nautical. That's the word. See, my wife. She knows how to read my mind.
Nice. Daniel was in there as well of it. Nice.
Yeah. Dug it out. Nautical. That's the one. It's not nautical themed. And that's where Nordic came from. So we know where we got there. We came around eventually. Yeah. We got it. We got it. I'm a genius. No, I'm not.
So I don't dislike the look on Min. I'm not here saying it's like, oh my god, she looks terrible.
It's weird.
But I'm not looking at her and being like, oh my god, I want in. Like, you know, it's like, okay. But then when I saw her in the show initially, I was just like, she felt I mean, everyone's beautiful in the show, like Kay included, but it was like she felt more like her character was more about like how gritty and how sassy and spunky she was, as opposed to like, you know, I love Taylor Lopia, but he's there just like, you know, chiseled and buff as I'm a water type thing, you know. Like, Taylor's great. Taylor's a great guy. You know, great actor. I can genuinely say that. Like, I see him on stage, like he is incredible.
And relax.
Yeah, that smile should be illegal. When he was grinning as Romeo, like the dude, I was just like, you
of course he played Romeo.
He was Romeo. Yeah, I was like, that smile should be illegal. But yeah, she is. I don't know. It's I'm not buying the outfit. It doesn't work for me.
It's a weird choice for the character. Like, she's supposed to be a bartender.
Yeah.
maybe this is just for funsies for a picture,
Maybe.
like, and it's not like, you know, like an actual costume from the show. But like, it's an interesting choice. I would wonder how this character ended up in this outfit, if like, and where she would wear something like this.
Agreed.
Specifically, yeah. What about you, Crystal? Or
Yeah, it doesn't seem like good, traveling wear. I'm wondering if it's meant to highlight the tattoos. Like, that's why, because it draws your. I mean, that's the first thing I saw.
It does, yeah.
Okay, it's striking, but I don't think it would fit her either.
oh, that's a good point, Daniel.
I love it.
I can see that. So good.
Nice.
Oh, thanks, stuff. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's a little weird choice for the character of Min. Like, I'm not sure where a bartender would wear something like this unless she's at like a leather bar. But I don't think that that's where we're gonna find her. Okay, speaking of where do you? So I've seen a lot of interesting theories on where we're gonna find Min. There's a lot of good reasoning behind some of the theories I've seen. What do you two think, Crystal? Where do you think we're gonna find Min? What does chat think? Shout out some thoughts too.
I don't know. That's honestly not something I had even thought about.
Put you on the spot.
I know.
Do you have any thoughts, Rob?
Go ahead, Ron.
No, I'm the same, Crystal. Like, Min is like, is she gonna pop up somewhere? I'm like, haven't thought about it. Hasn't crossed my mind. Now
Okay.
you've asked me. I'm just like, sounds
I
really bad, but I'm like, wherever they choose to put her in, not really fast. Like.
I know that I've seen some posts of.
I mean, she went running away from Faldara, didn't she? So I was like, I don't know.
Leaving Faldara? Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Nomi Garden, reading my mind.
Yeah,
I was just like, no, we could just like pick her up on the side of the road somewhere.
Yeah,
that sounds
in
really
a
bad. I didn't mean
caravan
it the way that
leaving
sounded.
Faldara.
That's not how I meant that.
Well, we'll pick up with her on the side of the road in her caravan, having left Faldara. There,
Yes.
I saved you.
Much better. Thank you.
The only theory that I think I've seen that holds any water is I saw someone post. There's an image that has been cycling, or a clip from one of the trailers that's been cycling through, and in the background you see like a window with like these shutters over it, horizontally lined shutters, and I said it like that because I have to remind myself which way is horizontal and vertical because I mixed them up. But I was correct this time. And then there's a shot of Rand in a building looking similar. So I've seen theories of where Rand is and where Min is, and maybe they're there together. But I personally don't think we're going to see Rand and Min together until later, way later.
I mean, this kind of implies that we see her hanging around with Matt more than anyone. Like the pairing.
Obviously, the pairings here. So
we're expecting a match between Perrin and Avienda as like the introduction there.
Okay.
Obviously, Maureen and Lan being together makes sense. You've got the girls together in the tower. You've got Nynaeve and Leandrin having a thing together. So like the pairings of the posters.
Tarvalon, then? Is that where we're going to find her? If that's because isn't that
maybe.
where?
That's
so
where we expected Matt to be, isn't it?
Yeah, Althor's Taint. I'm not sure if we have an exact confirmation on the timing yet. I know it's going. There's going to be a time jump.
There will be a time jump. I think the 5 months was quoted in an article.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I haven't read every article, but yes. Okay. So cool. So if it's 5, like, let's just say we'll leave it at 5 for now. Like, how true or not that is, we don't know. But even if the actors say, maybe they got it wrong, we don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
5 months. If she left Faldara, 5 months from Faldara could put her midway through the continent, pretty much anywhere. She could be at Tarvalon. She could be in Andor. She could be. Kyrian is a little closer. That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just commented to say that could be fun having that in Main Escape, because obviously, like, there's Tom's introductions are very different, and we're pretty sure there's no Tom in season 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've had the showrunners and Willem. Alexander Wilhelm, yeah.
Alexander
Wilhelm. Spun him around. They've both confirmed that he's not in season 2, and then he's in like a big production right now. Like he just wrapped a big production, so I think it's pretty much safe to say he's not in it.
ran back to Prague like 2 weeks ago or something, didn't he?
Yeah,
So,
to start because they've started filming, or they've started. I don't think they've started principal production, like filming for season 3 yet, but I think they're screen testing and getting ready. They've been writing it for over a year, so I'm pretty sure that's done. I know that, and they've been building sets, so I think they're actually, if they haven't started already, they're gearing up to start almost immediately. So
yeah,
that
makes sense. But yeah, so like, Min and Matt running away together. I just want to see Min getting drunk at a bar now. That would be hilarious.
Me too.
Maybe he stumbles. Oh, here we go. Bartending in Tarvalon. He runs away from the White Tower, and instead of like going on his gambling rampage with Tom, goes on his gambling rampage, bumps into Min. He's like, dude, you need to get out of here. Like, this is shit's going sideways. And they bounce together. I would like that.
That would be fun.
Interesting.
That would be fun.
That works for me. I like that.
I'd love to see Matt and Min get into some antics. I see, and this is a little bit of I think the age up of all of the characters didn't change them necessarily, but it brought their mentality to that of the later version of them in the book. So like Min is a little bit more of a snarky, joking, like quippy person later on in the series. She does it more so with just Rand, but she's like that with the maidens and stuff like that, and some of the other people that she befriends in the places that she ends up with Rand. I'm trying to remain a little bit spoiler-ish there. I did not see that the new character descriptions were there under a Prime. We could check that out.
Oh yeah, no, I just said to Rose, we mentioned it a little bit. We haven't actually.
We mentioned the pictures.
Is there actual description too? Yeah, there's actual descriptions. So like Ishi's, for example, I feel like it's not really too spoilery to say Ishi's. He is the strongest and most devoted. Exactly. He's the strongest and most devoted of the Forsaken, powerful channelers who swore themselves to the Dark 1,000 years ago and were imprisoned by the First Dragon in seals of the One power. So this plays with my idea that I had about the seals. Ishmael is a master of deception. So
I like that. So right off the bat, I just want to say, I don't like that they've essentially told the viewer that isn't the Dark One. Like, I really wish they would have leaned into letting the viewer, and when I say the viewers, people that don't know the story. So like, let's just imagine for a second, no one knows the story. Letting the viewer not know that they didn't win, or at least not know that that person wasn't a representation of the Dark One, and then having him come back later as a surprise, because I remember that being a big thing in the books. But in that same thought, as I say it would be hard to keep that secret with all of the information that's out there for the Wheel of Time. So it could have been, that they would put a lot of investiture in storytelling and writing for that season into a secret that is already out. So I could see maybe why they didn't. So I personally would have loved if they were able to do that. But I now that I think about it, I don't think they would be able to do that in a way that would be meaningful. But it's just, they basically told us a huge story plot in a advertisement for the season, like they were like, so I don't like when they do that, but I understand why they did it in this case, because there's just so much information out there. I guess it would be impossible to keep that a secret.
Yeah, I agree.
The Last Dragon Reborn. I don't know. So like, that was something that I was always wondering about. Like, maybe this is actually a future telling of the story, like in the sense of like the books happened in the past, and this is another turning of the wheel, literally. And that's why they're talking about why they reference Lews Therin being like another dragon. But I am unsure now that they've labeled it as the first dragon, which is interesting. Anyway, back to the posters again. We have what is it? Sierra or Kira Kovini and Madeline as Egwene and Elaine. I like her look a lot as Elaine. I can't wait to, and the little bit that we've seen of her, I think she'll do good. Mm-hmm. And seeing them together makes perfect sense for the book. So like, seems like that they're going to be following the story a bit, like from what we know of that happens to Egwene, like from the again from the things that we've seen. Egwene was going to end up in the Shanshan, and we've seen Elaine and Egwene kind of fighting with a Damani, so we know they're going to end up there somehow. So, what about this is the first look that we've seen on the poster so far of the new weaving, and obviously we've gotten it in the trailers. What do you guys think of this new version of weaving?
I like it. I mean, I'd say that's something that I've struggled with the most in the show is just the visualization of that. I'm not sure what I wanted it to look like, but it's not ever been, I don't know. I didn't love it in season 1, so I think I like this more.
Yeah. I agree. I think I remember back in the day, and I say this like that's decades ago or something better, but I remember like during COVID and as the show was getting closer and stuff like that, I remember talking about like, do we want colors? Do we want to see it when all the time? Do we want to see it only when like, it's from a female's perspective and they're watching a female channeler? Do we only see the weaves then? But if a male character's watching a channel, we don't see anything. I remember a lot of discussions. I feel like the general tone was that colors would feel too cheesy, even though that's how they're described in the books. And I don't know, perhaps that made its way to the show. And they were like, it's quite expensive to do a lot of, or also they're not explaining a lot about weaving in season 1. Like Maureen's just going to weave the power. When they had Logain, they're just weaving the power to Cobra was right. Like just weaving the power to shield him and leave it there. And now we're in the White Tower in season 2. They're like, well, we're explaining the weaves, so now we need to give it colors. I don't know whether that's why, but I feel like maybe they started with like plain white weaves because a combination of, well, it's less expensive graphically, I imagine, because you have to mix colors together and stuff like that, whereas you can just have white weaves.
And also they were able to reuse the same kind of graphical cues over
graphical
and over
cues,
again.
We're not explaining it, and then also you can always add colors later because we're not explaining it, and when we do explain it, then we can be like, well, now you can see the colors. So I feel like it was like maybe a combination of those things where like we try it this way, and if people love it, then we don't have to add color, but if people hate it, then we've got this like explanation of channeling when they get to the tower that allows us to then add colors, and it makes a difference. I don't know whether it was conscious money, but I feel like it was a combination of things, and they settled on make them white to start with because we can change it later, and there's canonical reasons where we can say it was white in season 1 and then colored in season 2.
Yep. You mirrored my thought perfectly. You literally said my thoughts perfectly. I've said the exact same thing. I the only thing I would lean on a little bit is I think that they're going to lean into the whole teaching the one power more in this season. Since obviously we had nothing. So like as they didn't want to overwhelm the viewer who knows nothing with too much exposition on how the one power works and what it is in that first thing. So we know a little bit of the rules, having with the comments that some of the characters have made, and now is the time as the characters are learning that the viewer gets to learn. So I think they're going to lean into that, and then that's why we're going to see the colors more. But I 100% agree with you on all of your points. I don't know how much of a combination of it's cheaper to do and all of the shit that happened with Barney having to leave and re-edits and reshoots and blah blah blah. So but it's probably a combination of both of those two things: the lack of funds because of all of the surprise stuff from COVID and Barney, and then the fact that the characters themselves don't know what they're looking at. So we were seeing it from a one power educated character essentially, and now we're going to have a one power educated character. So we're going to see it better, see the weaves in more detail. Yeah. Oh yeah. So my wife actually showed me this. I wish I made a clip of it. Maybe, and I'll do it. So maybe I'll make a clip. Actually, Erin is going to remind me when we get off this. I will make a clip of what she's talking about, and I will post it on the Dragonmouth social media later tonight. There's so this show, The Discovery of Witches, is a really interesting show, personally. And their magic is actually knitting. They're sewing, they're making, and it's whoever made this either had the exact same ideas as Robert Jordan or is very heavily influenced by the way Robert Jordan did his stuff. But the way the visual representations in the actual show is spot on almost to how I imagined like accepted being taught or novices and accepted being taught the one power, because it's very slow also. It's not quick. Like the weaving and the making of the spells when they are literally knitting, like when they do things, their hand motions are like as if they were knitting threads together, and they're pulling threads of fire into things with water, and literally, and that's what they call it. And they're colored as such. But it's very slow going. It's very methodical. Even the older witches that I saw in the episode that I watched, they did things slowly like that. So it wouldn't be a lot like the one power in the sense of like later combat and stuff like that, but the slow going nature of it really made me, I was like instantaneously transported to like a novice classroom where I said I was teaching a novice how to like make a weave in the one power to do something specific.
Well, yeah, and they'd always talk in the books about how you could tell who taught them, who they learned from based on the hand motions that they would make.
Yeah. Rose, I hope they do too. I remember a conversation that I had with some of the people involved with the show about how they wanted to play with perspective a lot. And I don't know, this was before season 1 came out. I don't know how much of that is going to get translated to now, because this is years ago. But I do remember, I specifically remember them saying how they wanted to play with the perspective of channeling a lot. So like you'll see a version of it in, from a perspective of a man, a woman, a channeler, a non-channeler, et cetera, et cetera. So we've been going for a while now. I want to get through the rest of these posters and then give Rob a plug and give us a plug one more time before we hop off. But let's look at the rest of these posters real quick. There's not too much to talk about with these other than how much I love the costuming and I love the actors. I like that. I like and don't like that Ishamael is there. I think what they're doing with that is going to be just accelerating the storyline of Surath's storyline a bit. We're letting us know she's a dark friend a little earlier.
And unless she's completely oblivious to him. And they make that very obvious initially.
Yeah, we don't know we know there's a Shanshin in the Dark Friend social because of the nails, and it's a high-ranking female at least based off of the, what we could see. We don't know for sure it's Surath. So like that, like I don't want to unequivocally say that too. You're absolutely right, Rob. But at least they're going to be accelerating the storyline of a high-ranking Shanshin being a Dark Friend which we know they have to do. So
yeah, and making us hate the Shanshin, like making it very clear the show watchers that the Shanshin are just not to be trusted, full stop, despite the fact of they enslave female channelers. Like on top of that, they're friends with dark friends, so
that vest does look great to him on him, and I like how it like kind of mirrors some of the. Is it pleating? Is that what it's called? That type
pleating?
Yeah. I like how it kind of mirrors the pleating in her dress a little bit too. Do you guys have any thoughts on the
I think we're gonna love to hate the Shanshin, kind of like I felt about the White Cloaks in season 1. This is a storyline I'm super excited about. The long nails I know that comes from the books. The nails bug me a little bit, but beyond that, the costuming is everything I've seen is beautiful.
Nails are they're a little creepy.
They're a little very creepy, exaggerated. They're very, very
yeah.
How do you hold a weapon with that? I don't know.
I mean, we'll find out with Turak, won't we?
Yeah. We see Turak do it, so I'm excited to see that.
I like the. So let's be honest. The way Robert Jordan described insect armor in the books is incredible when you think about a lone soldier stood there But if you had ranks of soldiers dressed in that type of armor, mandibles and stuff sticking out, they ain't going to be able to stand next to each other, are they?
Yeah.
So I love the way that they have managed to still bring in like the effect of mandibles and horns and
exoskeletons,
exoskeleton stuff, and
yeah,
that with
that's what,
even in Surf here, like these shoulder, they
yeah.
got shoulder pads in Wheel of Time, like that's a whole separate discussion there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the way they've still managed to invoke that without.
Yeah, it looks almost like a mantis.
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah,
the
like
headpiece at least.
Yeah, definitely. So I really appreciate they've still managed to capture the essence of that sort of insect influence, I would call it, on what we've seen with the Shanshan so far. And I'm excited to see more of that, like Death Watch guards and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
I understand why they don't want to, like, it's one thing having like a gravelly, closed mouth, unintelligible speaking pattern in a thing for a book, because you can say that the accent is almost unintelligible in a book and then write the words out and the reader can imagine it. You can't do that on a TV show. Like, that would be, how incredibly annoying would that would be on a TV show. So
I'd be like, damn, I have to watch with subtitle. I mean, I do anyway, but like people who don't watch with subtitles be like, I need subtitles, So.
Yeah. And then people that can't read and have to are visually impaired are just fucked, essentially. So I like that they're giving them the American accent, because that was like the idea of the Shanshan was supposed to be like they're from the Americas, it's a group of people that all have over embellished Texan accents, that their entire culture is founded on slavery.
Yeah,
like Robert Jordan did that on purpose. So, so the way they did that in the show is they just gave them what seems like varying American accents. And so I'm kind of hoping for the Shanshan Ogier to all be from Brooklyn. That's my whole.
I'm just curious. Like, are we going to get that cliche like Wisconsinites? Keep her moving. Sort of thing.
Oh golly, G Willikers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't you know? Don't you know? Empress, may you live forever.
Give me a sequel. Yeah, don't you know the Sanchez live forever?
Oh my god! I want like all the Ogier to be from varying locations in New York. I want Staten Island accents. I want Long Island accents. I want Manhattan.
We need someone be like, give me a cup of, instead of a cup of coffee, it's a cup of quaff.
Okay. Let me get some calf. Let me get some calf over here.
Some calf, yeah.
Hey, Doc Valley, come here. I need some calf.
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping. Not really, but it would be funny.
As a skit, it would be funny, wouldn't it? Like as an outtake or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we should record like a bad lip reading of Ogier.
Oh my god, yes.
And then obviously 2 characters that are going to be together, Lan and Maureen. I mean, well, maybe not incredibly obviously, but like Lan and Maureen, give me a break.
Yeah.
Whatever your feelings are on the daughter of 9 moonshines. She's from the Appalachians. Like the royal family's all from the Appalachian area.
Boston.
Boston accent, that would be hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, we'll dive into this later. This feels like I'm pinning all of this because I want to talk about this now. Anyway, they had to give Maureen a slightly expanded story for this season, because in the book she's non-existent.
Yeah.
Right. So Rosamund Pike and Daniel Henney are the two. Like, Rosamund Pike obviously is number 1 by a large margin. Daniel Henney, I would say, is probably number 2 in like big time actors on the show. Right?
Yes.
Is there anyone else? Am I forgetting anybody?
Alvaro Mote, maybe, but he is like wildly popular in like Spain and
yeah. So
but like in terms of like worldwide audience,
Sophie Okonedo is big. She's been in a lot of stuff. But Rosamund Pike is
Rosamund Pike's on like
staunchly.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you say like Sophie stuff, you'd be like a lot of major plays and things like that. When you say Dan, you'd be like, okay, like supporting roles in like one of the X-Men movies, and what's it, Hawaii Five-0? Like a crime show. I can't remember.
I didn't see you join.
Never.
And also, Valley Girl would be hilarious.
Things like that. But then you go to Rosamund, and it's just like, like lead actress in like Gone Girl with I want to say Matt Damon. It's not Matt Damon. It's the other guy.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she's
Ben
up there
Affleck.
like Ben Affleck. Yeah, like major starring roles in major movies.
Yeah.
And
I loved her in
definitely
Doom.
number one.
Doom was a terrible movie, but I like when I saw her, I was like, Doom? That was the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, I watched a few months back. I was going through Hot Fuzz and those movies by Simon Pegg and that, and then I got to Shaun of the Dead, and World's End. Sorry, not Shaun of the Dead. Got to World's End, and she's in that, and I'm like, my God, I'm saving myself an interview question there if I ever meet Rosamund.
Oh yeah. All right, small tangent, and then we'll get through the rest real quick. I promise, because I know it's late for you, Rob. I had we used to go to Universal a lot prior to J.K. Rowling coming out as an idiot.
Right.
They had like big Harry Potter events at Universal. My wife and I were huge Harry Potter fans. We used to dress up and go and blah blah blah, all that. So what's his name? Lucius Malfoy.
What is his name? I know who you're talking about, though.
Wants to come out. My wife will say it in chat, or someone will say it. Noman Gardner and my wife, whoever will get it first, I'm not sure, but someone will say it. I love him. I love all of his roles. Most of his roles are like side characters. He was in what was it? Dragonheart. The one where Sean Connery plays a dragon. Dennis Quaid is in it.
Is he?
The villain. He's like the sheriff of Nottingham character. Jason Isaacs. Yeah.
Jason Isaacs. Yes. Thank you. Both of them in there at the same time.
I so wanted to ask him. So, what was it like being acting alongside Sean Connery in Dragonheart? Did you ever get to see him? Like, was he ever on set and just be dressed to the nines in Harry Potter regalia and not mention fucking Harry Potter once? I had prepared questions for Dragonheart, questions for the Patriot, because he was the
amazing.
bad
he was the bad guy in Patriot, the bad Englishman in Patriot,
and he was the
Armageddon. He was
man.
like the world's smartest man, Armageddon, which is great. Let's play those roles, and he does them so well.
He does it so well. He's such a good character actor. Yeah. Anyway, so but I always wanted I had a full plan to do exactly like what your bit was there for Rosamund. Just like,
well, it's funny. Like, I'll tell you my question off stream. It's going to kill me. I really hope I get to ask a Rosamund one day. But yeah, it was just aside from Gus, I hate when people ask the same questions of stars and it's tough. It is tough because sometimes you haven't seen the other interviews as a fan or an interviewer, and you're like, I want to know the answer to this. But also, it's got to be draining for them to answer the same questions all the time. Yeah. So I was like, I gotta ask questions. Like, I've been collating a whole list of things. Like, if I meet Marcus, if I meet Ayula, if I meet Rosamund, if I meet Daniel, like questions I feel like they haven't been asked before. To make it fun for them as well.
Exactly. So, that's always my goal too. When I used to do the interviews for JordanCon, I would always think of that as well. Also, it's a little bit like I don't want to say like that's what you're doing. I know for me, like, you got to admit it's a little bit of a selfish thing. Like, you want to stick out in their mind as like, that guy was cool. That guy had a fun question. But at the same time, you want it to be fun for them. Like, maybe because like when they have fun, they give a different energy and a different response to the other questions. So that's that is an interview tactic, like, is to start out fun and stuff like that, which is what we tried to do when we interviewed Rafe for the show. Shameless plug. We had to, if for you don't know, it was a fun interview. Yeah, CEO Kathy and I interviewed live, which was a big deal because he's never sat for a live interview with a fandom before. Rafe Judkins, showrunner for The Wheel of Time, and he was a fucking delight. I like either, and I've seen him act in Survivor. I don't think he's a good actor. No, I'm joking. I don't think he's good enough to act as compassionate and fun and funny as he is genuinely. So Agreed. So I was gonna say either he's a really good actor and he can act genuine and fun and caring, or he actually is, and I really think he actually is. Based off of his interactions in the interview and like the stuff that we talked about before and after, he was just really fun. But our first question was, what is your favorite dinosaur? And he had a fucking answer, bro. Like he had an answer ready to go. Like a dinosaur. Like I've heard of the dinosaur, but like its proper scientific name, the reason why he liked it, like I was like, this is gonna be great.
It was literally like the question he's waited decades for someone to ask him. You know, it's like I've loved this since I was 12 years old, and no one has ever asked me this question.
It was so beautiful. Happy. Yeah, I was so happy. Oh man, and whatchamacall, we had a little bit of pushback when we were like talking about which questions to do. And I was like, we got to ask him this. But ultimately, obviously, we ended up doing it. It was a fun interview. But definitely agree with you on that vein. Like, you got to set a good tone and stuff like that. And then you can get into a little bit of the crunchy stuff. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So not too much to talk about on there. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say definitely these are the big two. And I feel like Land's costume has just been like made a bit, I don't know, nicer. Cleaner? Like, yeah, he said cleaner. Yeah, it's like this is a better quality material. He's just, but it's still the same Korean hanbok inspired outfit.
And I like that they're leaning into that.
Yeah. It makes my cosplay situation far less complicated. I like Rosamund not having giant stripes. I hope that the Kyrian like rankings is not stripes, but then she's got like an underskirt sort of pattern on the go. Without being too weird about staring at her crotch. Yeah. You know, and I hope that, you know, the Kyrian being a reserved culture, that if they use underskirts or like things like that, you know, less obvious stripes and colors to identify rank. I think that's
less garish is the word that pops into my head.
Less garish, yes.
Yeah. This reminds me of almost like it's probably like either leather or cloth, but it reminds me almost like armor, and it really does feel like that. Rosamund's costume always has like a little bit of an aspect of armor to it.
Yeah, she's lost the shoulders. It's not. She's it makes her look more reserved, doesn't it? You know, more queenly, more stately.
She's leaning more into the. I think at least she's leaning more into the Kyrian Maureen Damodred and less to the Aes Sedai, you know, Maureen Sedai, because technically, you know, from what we know, she's not really an Aes Sedai at this point, or at least she doesn't consider herself one, maybe because she is unable to channel at the moment. But she's got her Kisera, she's got some nice jewelry, she looks stunning as usual. Butt rock, I mean, Daniel Henney, Landman Dragon.
I mean, amazing. Seriously, if someone asks him that question before I get to ask him that question, I'm gonna be pissed.
I agree with
you.
No
one's allowed to ask him about the butt rock question. I was like, dude, you need to wait for me to ask that question.
Did you have a stunt butt, Daniel, or was that your real butt?
I'll just be like, how do you feel? Like, I'm just going to assume he knows about it and be like, how do you feel about the fandom's enjoyment about butt rock? You know.
That's funny also. Yeah. I mean, like the Kyrianen always struck me as like, I know the Andorans are always given like the Victorian thing, but the Kyrianen struck me as that too, maybe French-ish a little bit, like they're more French, but they always had those big hoopy dresses and stuff. But man, I like personally, I don't know how I would feel. I would be flattered, I would like it, but also be a little like, you know, like if it got too gross. So like, I don't know. I think I hope he enjoys it, like, because I wouldn't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I hope that he understands it's respectful. You know, we don't like, you know, sit there and, well, yeah.
Well, some of us do, but it is respectful. I would never, you know, I would. It would be fun to have consent to gaze lovingly at his butt. I mean, he put it on the show, so I mean, but yeah, it would. Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the next one.
Yes.
So Nynaeve and Leandrin is an interesting pairing. We had a little bit of this in season 1 with Leandrin kind of talking to Nynaeve and like
getting her name wrong.
Yeah, which she did on like this total power move.
Yeah.
Which brings me right back to Nick Offerman and Ron Swanson. He's like, every now and then I like to just get people's names wrong to remind them how much I don't care about them. But I could see them leaning into her being more of a teacher with Nynaeve, and maybe using that to kind of confuse the. Yeah, there you go. We're going to respectfully ogle you. That's how you should word it. How do you feel about the fandom respectfully ogling your hindquarters, Mr. Henney?
Yeah, I like that. That's much better.
But like I could see them doing that with this, and it could maybe confuse the book readers into like, are they going to pursue the Leandrin storyline from the book, or are they changing it and keeping us on our toes with that? So I could see them doing that. Like maybe they make her mentor or something like that. That would be interesting. But do you guys have any thoughts on? I know we're going through this a little bit rapid fire, but it's late for Rob, and I want to get him to bed.
No, I just think this is a fun pairing. I think it's this is going to be like there'll be a lot of trading between Leandrin and Nynaeve. I think this is what plays into it. It'll be a combination of like a rivalry. I think they might be setting up for them. One-on-one lessons to block breaking.
The red over the yellow, like the red and the yellow.
Red versus the
exactly, yeah. Some block breaking situation, and also I think very subtly a tribute to New Spring and Maureen and Swan getting lessons or secret lessons on how to pass the test. And I think that there'll just be some sort of like subtle hint that you wouldn't recognize unless you'd read New Spring into that, and playing into that as well. And maybe she'll try and help her break a block when she shouldn't be, and thus trying to help her advance.
Yeah,
something
that's
like that.
Fair. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's go to and we did this one already because we did it second because we couldn't resist Donald Flynn. So that is all of the posters that we got for this past Watt Wednesday, and that was
amazing.
That was a great discussion. I was worried that we wouldn't be able to fill a whole hour, and here we are almost 2 hours later. Because
I want to finish off my rant if that's okay. It's not a rant, but
go.
So going back to I got I figured out the Kev thing. Thank you to chat, and also Kev clarified. But so obviously those numbers came from the other tweets, and then when you put them backwards in a calculator, the 5 looks like an S, the 1 looks like an I, the 3 looks like an E. So that's where they got the S, when you put them in a calculator backwards, you get the 8315 sort of thing. And then so he was suggesting that it would be the 31st of August, 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Eastern? No, 5 p.m. something else. Yeah, because it was replying to the Innkeeper. But yeah, basically that would end up being a midnight release. And I've got to say, why would they put all the times on the apps? That it would then work out to be 8 o'clock in the UK in the morning on Friday. But secondly, for once, I would love it if the whole thing about Wheel of Time wasn't catered just to the American audience. The competitions available to US residents only, the release times all on Americans. It comes out on this date, but America gets it, the day before technically because
that's entirely fair.
Why?
Right on that, it's a European project. They filmed the entire thing in Europe.
It's filmed in Europe. The writers' room is in the UK. Have they filmed anything in America? No. The editing's I know for a fact it's edited in the UK.
Yep.
Because I have a friend who works in the same building as that is edited in. So, there's so much that is done here in Europe, and then everything is catered to the American audience. And I'm just like, share it around. Come on. For once, America needs to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch something. Suck it up. The world premiere was in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally am on board with that, man. Something that you don't think about, obviously, because when it doesn't affect you. On a small scale, sometimes, it happens in the Americas where it's like, or in the United States where it's, something happens on East Coast time or West Coast time. But even for the most part, most things are East Coast time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been privileged in that fact that I've always grown up. I've grown up on the East Coast. I lived the majority of my life in New York. So, but no, that's a really good point, especially because it's a fully European production. Part of the reason that we're continuing to talk about it in lieu with the strike going on is because it is not a WGA or SAG production. It's an equity production, which is the name of the European Actors Union.
Yeah.
So I don't want to shoot myself in the sense of saying go ahead and do this thing where I'm going to have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I agree with you that they do cater to the American audience pretty much entirely in film
I mean,
and
the
television.
competitions, don't get me started on the giveaways they do, because they have not done a single giveaway that wasn't exclusively for American residents only.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I mean,
didn't
maybe
realize that.
maybe one, but every time they do a giveaway, it's always American residents only.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'm gonna only because I mentioned the strike, I'm posting the link for the Entertainment Community Fund again in the chat. You wanna a thing from Dragon Mount, though. That was fun.
I did. Yeah, I won that from you
book.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
the book.
I still gotta get those actually.
From Grace, because Grace has them, right?
Grace has them. Yeah.
So. He got issues. What was it, 3 and 4 of the comic book?
That sounds right. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It was either 1 and 2 or 3 and 4.
Oh, maybe 1 and 2 actually.
It was either 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. I don't remember which one it was, but it was because we only just gave away 5 and 6.
Right.
But that being said, since we're going to get ready to wrap up, do you have any final thoughts, Crystal, that you want to share before I do our shameless plugs and wrap up?
I am just incredibly excited. Like, this was a lot of fun tonight. Thank you guys for having me. I don't get to do this very often, but I had fun just listening, and I kept getting very distracted by the chat. I'll have to work on that.
It's a fun
I'm
balance.
ready. It is. I'm ready for season 2. I think it's going to be great. I think you just have to look at it as something totally new.
Me too. That's
yeah.
And like both of you have said already, and a million people have said before, like, it's just fun to be excited about the Wheel of Time again. Like
something new.
Not excited, but surprised, excited for new content. Like something that as a book reader, a few years ago we never thought we would get, because Harriet has staunchly said she will not allow more authors to write in this world. Like it's done. So I'm glad. Like, it's fun to be able to get new stuff again.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. Rob, what are you doing soon? Where can we find you? I will post your link to your website in chat in 2 seconds.
Thank you.
But like, what's your next thing that we're going to see from you?
So obviously there's Threefold Talk that happens every Thursday, providing they go with the 8 a.m. UK drop, then we will stick with that. If they do move it back to a midnight UK drop, then Threefold Talk during the show will move to Tuesdays, and I will do my Daily Veil show on Thursdays for show reactions. I'm trying, depending on the drop time, I might either be live when the show drops or live after the Dusty Wheel because of the times, and try and throw together like a big long stream with him. That was the original plan, but thanks to my new job, I can't do a later slot. So if it does go 8 a.m., I'll be doing just a stream at that sort of time anyway. Obviously I've got my MalkierCon comes up. That's on September 8th, 9th and 10th. So
for
that's
our UK friends.
For UK and European friends, yeah. And it's also the last year it's in Manchester, because next year we're taking it over to Prague. I'm going to host it in Prague instead. So, so that's coming up. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Digital tickets are still on sale for that, so you can watch with us. If you don't get a digital ticket, you ain't gonna be able to see anything till at least I always give at least a month exclusive access to the live streams, so it'll be some point in October before you start to see anything, and they trickle out as well, so it'll take a while before you see everything as well. So that's a lot of the fun there. Yeah, that's the big things. I do actually need to do. I promised the Tweeter of Chaos that I would review season 1 in an accent of their choosing, and they chose a Ileana accent with a touch of Cornish. So I've got like 12 days left to do a review of 8 episodes in a Ileana / Cornish accent. So that I got to figure out time to do that and have some fun. So I was going to do 1 episode at a time, but now I've run out of time. So maybe I'm just going to have to do like a 2-part video where I'm like first 4 episodes, second 4 episodes or something. I don't know. Just like summarize and have some fun. So yeah, that's
hey,
those are the things I'm up to.
Any way I can get that, I'd be happy. That sounds hilarious.
Maybe every night this week I need to record part of it. Like, just like watch an episode on speed view.
Put them on the spot?
On the spot. No, I do not be giving away previews. There was no accent there. No accent there. That's as much as a preview you get.
He's got to prepare. It's hard. All right, cool, man.
Thank you
so
so
much. Of course. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with me. I love when we are when we're graced with your presence, and I say it like that because I genuinely do mean I enjoy spending time with you. But also, this a tough time for you to hang out with us. It's late and, you got work, you got a life. Like, I really, really do appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. So thank you very, very much.
I love doing it, so.
Again, make sure to go check out Dragonmount on Dragonmount.com is the name over on Twitch. That is where we're going to be doing our marathon when we do it, because it is going to be a charity live stream, and we're actually going to be watching the show live, and you can join the watch party and watch with us. So we have to host that through Twitch, because it is a Amazon property and Twitch is owned by Amazon. So yes, follow us over there. Follow us on all of the Dragonmount stuff, social media and all that. I'm terrible at plugging all of that stuff. Ebony is usually the one, and Kitty is usually the one that does that for me because I'm terrible at it. Make sure to follow MalkierTalks on everything. You're just MalkierTalks on everything, right?
Yeah, search MalkierTalks, you'll find me. It's the same name and everything. No one got there before me, so I managed to snag all the platforms I wanted.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. Brother Zach. So, and then the marathon starting at 11 a.m. on August 26th. We're going to have a ton of giveaways. I got a lot of books, pins, fun little things from that I have, that Dragonmount has, and some donated, and a little bit of a hint later, some donated from the Robert Jordan estate themselves. So, check in with that. We're also going to be giving away the final giveaway of the comics that we've been plugging for forever, which is part of what Rob won. We're going to be giving away the full set of the Eye of the World graphic novel reprint that Macmillan released. Now it's got to be like 3 months ago. But when we initially did it, it was the promotion for the premiere of the release. But now it's like 3 months. But we're going to be giving away the full set, 6 issues of the Eye of the World reprinted comic. So tune in for when we're going to do that as well. We'll announce that during the stream. I got to, drag you guys there somehow. And then again, it's going to be a charity stream for the I don't want to say victims, but for people affected by the fires, the wildfires in Maui. So even if you can't donate, please consider just sharing the link out and getting the word out. Even if you don't share our link, find somewhere to donate. I know I would have loved to use a different charity, but it wasn't available to me through the program that we're using. There's a specific charity that I want to call out. I don't have the proper webpage for it now, but the Humane Society has a charity that is donating to people affected by the wildfires, but also pets affected by the wildfires, because that's something that a lot of people don't realize are hugely affected. Like these, are they, like, in the grand scheme, some people will say they're less important than people. I mean, like, a lot of people aren't pet owners and that say that, but some people's pets, they can no longer care for them and they're so attached to them and they want to see them go to a loving family, or they need money to care for them, or they need money to put them somewhere. So like that charity, the Humane Society of America, has a specific charity for people and pets that were affected by the Maui fires. So consider looking into that as well. And with that being said, I think we're ready to wrap up. Anything you want to? I don't think you don't have any like public facing stuff that you're doing, right, Crystal?
No, not.
Are you writing anything at the moment? You said you were a fledgling writer. Can we read you anywhere? Where can we read?
No, not yet. Just my my lovely reviews and episode synopsis on dragonmount.com right now. So I turned 40 in June, and my goal was always to have the book done by 40. So we'll see if I get there. We'll see if I make it.
Fingers crossed.
Well,
it's hard.
Good luck on that.
It's hard with tiny humans running around sometimes.
Of course. And if you, when you get that done, obviously we'll be right here with you to read and check it out and talk about it. So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. I love all of you awesome nerds. I will see you guys. So there we go. I forgot. We are not going to be doing a show on Monday because that weekend is when we're going to be doing the marathon. So I have a lot to prepare for that. And then, as I said earlier, with everything going on in my personal life, there's some stuff I need to take care of with that as well. So Monday, we will not have our regularly scheduled rewatch slot show. We will have our what's going to end up probably being 10-hour plus marathon live stream on that Saturday, August 26th. So tune in for that. And then after that, we will take up the regular time again for our 9 p.m. Monday slot. But then we'll be talking about the season 2 of the show and our feelings on that and stuff like
Amazing.
that. So that I'm looking forward to that with everybody. So again, love all of you, and I will see you guys next week.
Yes, you will.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.